But what they're doing with the federal workforce, it's a damn shame. I
You know
believe it
what?
was. Go ahead.
People were sold on this whole thing that, the federal government, everybody who works for the federal government resides in Washington, D.C.
Which is the
Washington,
furthest thing from the
D.C.,
truth, right?
yeah, Washington, D.C. is a federal city, but guess what? Those those government agencies are affecting people where I live at right now.
Oh,
You
I
know,
bet. Yeah.
the forestry agency,
Mm-hmm.
Veterans Affairs,
Yep.
or anything that has to do with a government agency is being affected by this guy and his 21-year-old,
Flunkies.
college dropout saying,
Right.
"Hey, tell me the 5 things that you did last week."
Yeah.
You know,
So
tell me how many times you jerked off last week. Because you can't get no real pussy.
right. So speaking of veterans, and on the subject here, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but about a third of federal employees are actually veterans.
Yeah,
And so to sit there and just fire all these people who honorably served, and then decide to go into public
yeah.
service, for the federal government. I mean, it's just a damn shame.
And
Um,
those are and guess what? Guess what? Those are some of the same people who voted for this motherfucker.
yeah, exactly.
You know, voted all their self interest away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because people believe that the federal government resides in Washington D.C. Other than that, they don't think it's outside of Washington D.C.
Right.
You know, when you think about it, and they sold them on that bullshit line,
Mm-hmm.
and guess what? They're reaping their rewards.
Yep. Same thing.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, same thing to farmers too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Farmers in these ruby
congratulations.
red states, in all these ruby red states, and
Mm-hmm.
oh well, I think that Trump's great for the economy. I'm just like, here's a guy who's bankrupted multiple casinos. How do you bankrupt a casino?
That's
Right,
fucking hard.
right,
I mean,
and
that's
so, and this is
that
who you're tying your horse to. I mean,
that bitch print money by itself. A casino.
exactly. Yep. I mean, figure. I mean, casinos always has the advantage, always has the edge. But he managed to, bankrupt multiple casinos, and then you got the whole thing with these contracts, that these farmers had signed, and and so a lot of them took out second mortgages on their farms and stuff like that. Guess
Man,
what? They're all about to
God
lose their farms,
damn.
and then here's the real fucked up thing that's going to happen. So you're going to have these industrial, farms that are going to come in, buy their shit up, pennies on the dollar,
That's
and
right.
then guess what? Get
They're
tax
gonna sell it to
breaks.
China.
Or somebody selling alfalfa to the Middle East so they can raise camels and and cows
Hey,
overseas.
the Middle East don't want nothing to do with Western affairs. They really don't. It's fucking China. It's Europeans and China that want to do some shit. You know, fucking the Middle East don't want nothing to do with us. So we ain't they not our problem.
I was just giving you an example of
Yeah,
because actually this has actually come up with some water rights issues where you had these big companies who were based in the Middle East, and they were buying up all this farmland out, like out west and stuff like that, just so they could grow alfalfa, grow hay, and then send it back home,
mm-hmm.
because it was just cheaper to
Yeah,
like to grow
yeah,
it here. The problem
and
is it's just like depleting the groundwater.
yeah, and the water rights issue became an issue because the fucking Middle Easterns bought up all this land
Yep.
and it was growing alfalfa and they wasn't selling this shit to the Americans. They were sending it back home.
Right.
And all of a sudden, oh, we got some. Who the fuck owns water? Like, who the fuck owns air? You know, like if I step into fucking if I'm on the border between North Korea and South Korea,
Mm.
who owns that fucking area? When nobody,
Let's go
right?
back and forth.
Yeah, nobody owns the fucking area.
Well,
You know,
the whole water rights thing. I mean, and this has been an ongoing thing. Like, in some states, it's illegal to collect rainwater because the rainwater belongs to the states, downstream. It's the
yeah.
most convoluted, stupid shit I've ever
I
heard.
think we have that law here in Florida.
It wouldn't surprise me.
You know, but like I always say, Florida's a backwards fucking state. Never move to this motherfucker at all costs. Avoid this bitch. You know, all costs. Got a fucked up governor. You know, now this nigga Byron that Donald's saying he running for fucking office. I guess Master Trump then elevated him from field nigga to house nigga. So he gonna run for governor. So all right, so here we go.
Yeah, so one of your governor races coming up.
It's going to be next year.
Okay, yeah, I believe we have ours here in Virginia this year, if I'm not mistaken, which is going to be it's going to be very telling in terms of what's going to happen in the midterms, because our governor here, Youngkin, he put out a statement, I believe it was about a week ago, because we have about 143,000 or 174,000 federal employees here in the Commonwealth, who are about to get laid off or have gotten laid off. So, down in Richmond, they're trying to they said they're putting a package together. The question is, there are no details, of course, whatsoever.
Yeah. Like I said, the large majority of, it's not a large majority, a majority of American registered voters, not Americans, Americans, that are registered voters voted for Trump. Now, there was a segment of voters or people who could be voters that didn't register, or the ones that
didn't vote, or just one third party, Jill Stein, or Mickey Mouse, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny.
I get it. I get it. People were fucking pissed off that the fucking Democrats, these dumbasses, were like, oh yeah, Biden's right on fucking top of it. No, that motherfucker was napping at 10 a.m. every day. Come on. We all seen it.
Right.
Yeah, we all seen it. And people got pissed off because they were lying, and nobody knew who was fucking running the country. Then you had your Secretary of Defense who disappeared for 3 fucking days. Nobody knew. Whoa, what's up with that? Nobody knew where he was and shit. And come to find out, he was having some fucking procedure, or they said he was having some fucking procedure.
Mm-hmm.
So at his last two years were very tumultuous, and they just picked up on it. And the more they lied, the more the American electorate that was going to vote got pissed.
Right.
And then they they picked this bitch off the bench, Harris, and I wasn't saying she's not a dumb lady. She's not unintelligent. She's an intelligent lady.
Sure.
The problem is that every time they stuck a mic in this bitch's face, she started giggling. She was never ready for prime time if she wasn't prepped ahead of time.
Well, that's the case with most politicians.
Mm-hmm. And when you compare her to fucking Trump, who's always had a fucking mic in his face, always ready for prime time, even though he don't say shit, he talks with talking points, and that's it. But you never get a full message from him. But he's always ready. and she just didn't seem ready. She just didn't seem competent, and that's what her big mistake. On top of them lying about Biden, being on top of his game and all that other bullshit, because we knew it was just fucking farce.